A teenage girl and her father travel to a remote alien moon aiming to strike it rich. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I'll be reviewing Prospect. It's a 2018 movie. This was a short indie film by the same name, and they turned it into a full movie. It runs about an hour and a half long, and this stars Sophie Thatcher, Jay Duplass, and Pascal. I almost said his name wrong. So the movie opens up on a space outpost over a green moon. C, who's played by Sophie Thatcher, and her dad Damon, who's played by Jay Duplass, have one last job to do before the space outpost leaves. So they secure a contract to do one last job on the surface. And that's what the whole premise of the movie really stems from. So they head to the surface when their rickety capsule goes on the blink. And then they have to land without crashing so they can try to get back to the space station. I thought that was kind of cool, because it shows just how, like, second class these two people are. And that's why they're out here doing these missions and this one last mission that is kind of dangerous. And they end up landing off course. So they have to start hiking to the location they were supposed to land at to do this last job. And along the way, Damon and C stumble across two bandits who complicate their mission considerably. This is where we meet Pedro Pascal's character, Ezra. And he plays a really good desperado in this. There's really no other way to describe him other than like a bandit type character. So something happens at this point. I don't want to spoil it because this movie was actually pretty decent. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was good. This is where we meet Pedro Pascal's Ezra, and C and Ezra form an unlikely alliance after these events happen, and they form this alliance in order to in order to survive. They must eventually come to trust each other, or they're gonna die before they can get off this moon. So that's like the whole thing of the movie. Going forward, this isn't an action-based movie like sci-fi movie. This is more plot-driven, which I thought was actually really good. The effects in this movie were good. It's a low-budget movie, so they weren't like any spectacular effects in this. They were more practical effects, and there were some special effects, though. We see like a canopy of century-old trees and specks of iridescent pollen that are swirling in the foreground of almost every scene. So we see these people who have to have spacesuits on and respirators, that filter the air so they can continuously breathe, which I thought was actually kind of a neat way of going about getting them oxygen, because with oxygen tanks and stuff they would eventually run out, so you would have to keep going back and forth to the ship to refill them, basically. So they got around it by having filters outside of their spacesuits, so they had to clean them out and things like that and get new ones whenever they do, because or else they start getting sick from the toxin in the air. So I thought that was pretty good. There was a couple of shootout scenes as well that were standard. They were fine. And the music was good as well. There are a couple of parts where the music helps with the suspense. Like one of the scenes is in particular that I'm thinking of is when Ezra was offered gems for C. So there's a whole scene with that And I don't want to spoil that because that's actually kind of a good scene. And the acting, again, the acting was fine. There was nothing really wrong with any of the acting. This was a plot based story. So, I mean, nobody had to do like any spectacular stunts or anything like that. So, I thought that was pretty good. Like Pedro Pascal was a convincing desperado, basically in this, and when he actually tries to bond with C, it seems genuine. It looks like it's genuine for the purposes of this movie, which I thought was good. It added to the survival of the movie, because that's what the whole movie is really based on, is trying to survive so you can get off of the moon alive. And Sophie, Sophie Thatcher plays a scavenger that is out of her element and is trying to get off the moon alive. So yeah, she's like scared in the beginning of the movie, and she doesn't really trust anybody. She's just trying to get off the moon alive, because everything can kill you on this moon, including the air. And eventually she becomes less scared, and as the movie goes through, she starts to trust a little more. So again, I mean, without trusting the person you're with, I mean, your survival rate's, not very high. So the bonding between Pedro and Sophie is a good one throughout the whole movie. This movie is closer to a Western style formula than it is a sci-fi, like a traditional sci-fi movie, which I thought was actually kind of cool. At first I thought it was like a kind of a weird movie because I really didn't understand what was going on until they went to the surface. Like, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of information in the opening scenes. So you're literally just sitting there, trying to figure out what's going on and waiting to figure it out. So when they go to the surface is when you really find out what's going on, like why they're there, type things. So I thought that was, so I ended up thinking it was good, because again, this was plot driven, like really just plot driven. So I thought that was kind of good. It made you think, like of what you would do in that situation versus what they did, So again, I thought that was good. I liked this more than I thought I would because again, at first I thought it was kind of a weird movie, as it started out. So I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I would give it a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. I mean, this is by far is a movie that I would watch again. I thought it was good. So if you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe, as I'll be doing more content each week. Take care for now, everybody.